Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Pitchfork Chronicles. I'm Uncle Tats here with Donald and Rob, and we actually have Boone doing something that we actually approve of. He actually made the decision to alter how he's going to have his defensive configuration and putting what we had said from the beginning. I was a big proponent of it, and putting DJ as a bench player. Sorry you're upset, but hey, that's baseball for you. You know, but seriously, putting Jazz back at second base was something that I think every Yankee YouTube channel has been calling for. We've been calling for it since the beginning. Since they moved the wall from the base when DJ returned. Going, why are you taking a guy that just got selected to the All Star game as a second baseman? And it's like, oh wait, it's like Boone forgot he played second base. He was so stuck in his own head, stuck in his own ways. However, it came down to be, but Boone actually made the right move, and it paid dividends yesterday because Jazz was he looked like a defensive wizard out there, playing second base again. He looked comfortable, and it's exactly what this team has needed is just stability and reliability on defense. And that's what Jazz at second base gives you. And Peraza at third. It's about time that they're going to give Peraza finally, Donald, finally, your boy is going to get some solid play on the field to see what he has. And I think it is definitely the right move. And Yankees were able to put up, a 10 spot on a very tough Seattle pitching staff. I don't want to, just don't look at the score and think there were a bunch of scrubs on the mound. Gilbert is solid. He's a guy that we asked for. We've wanted him on the team. We've brought him up in trade proposals before as well. And so the fact that Boone finally did make the right decision. Rob, how excited were you to see that he actually was finally took the rose-colored glasses off, that he can't make any mistakes, that he actually corrected one?
I wasn't excited because this shouldn't have been the case. He should never have done that in the first place. He should never have come to this. It's July, a whole month of Jazz Chisholm playing terrible defense at third, and Aaron Boone decided now is the time to do it. He should have never have done it. I can't applaud him. I can't applaud Aaron Boone for doing something he should never have done. What mistakes did he correct? I don't think it was him. I think the Yankees, I think it might have been the higher ups that told him, like, you better go change something because this isn't working. And I can't give Aaron Boone any credit for this because he was the one that made the decision to put Jazz at third in the first place and got his arm hurt. And everything fell apart from there, and zero accountability on this team from the manager. I'm happy they won, of course. I'm happy that Jazz is back where he needs to be. But look at it this way: they're all of a sudden now in 2025, they're deciding DJ's maybe not the player he once was. It took them 4 years to figure that out. We've been saying this for the last couple of years. At best, and it's not anything DJ's done wrong. It's just father time and the injuries have caught up to him, and it's not his fault. I don't have an ounce of hate for DJ LeMahieu. It's unfortunate what's happened to him, but the Yankees kept trying to, as Donald says, gaslight us into thinking that he was the player he once was, and that's just they take us for fools when we're not fools. So Aaron Boone, circling back on his decision, he gets no credit from me for it. Because it should have never been the case. What they did last night should have been what they've been doing all season. DJ's the guy off the bench. Jazz is at second. Peraza and whoever else can play third is playing third. And you might not have had this June mess that we had. It may have been a little bit better. I don't know if they would have won a lot more games, but they certainly would have won a few more games, and it wouldn't have been that dreadful of a month of June. But the whole month a lot of it can be pointed towards Aaron Boone's decision making. And that's why I can't give him any credit for it. Even when he said, like, oh, DJ didn't take it too well, he's having trouble physically. Like, shouldn't that tell you to get the guy off the team? Like, if it's physically challenging for him to play a position, shouldn't you maybe move on and call somebody up that can actually do it? Like, maybe try again with Jorbit Bibas. Maybe give it to Jesus Rodriguez, a guy that is young and athletic enough to play that position. I like DJ, but his time has been up for a very long time. And Aaron Boone gets zero credit for this for me. I'm happy we won, but I can't give that guy an ounce of credit. It's like there's nothing working up there when it needs to work.
Donald, what'd you think?
Facts. Am I supposed to give Aaron Boone credit for something he should have done a month ago? If not more than that? Come on. What does he want? A cookie? Oh wow, you want your all-star second baseman to play second base? Oh wow. Yeah. That's smart. Well, your Gold Glove caliber left side of the infielder Peraza, you want to play him at second base for ages or the bench? Oh, actually, you know what? I think he's probably better at third. Yeah. Wow. Funny that. I mean, what am I supposed to give him credit for? I mean, the whole purpose of the entire offseason was run prevention, and then for absolutely no reason whatsoever, in June, the Yankees just decided, screw it. Let's go back to what we did before, which didn't work. And guess what? Exactly what happened. It's very predictable. This is the Yankees. They can't keep up with their own lies. And the funny thing is, they're now going to go and they're now going to start parading themselves around like they're the smartest team in the world again, because, oh, look at what happened yesterday. Well, maybe that would have happened more over the last 6 weeks had they actually done what was supposed to have happened in the first place. They injured Jazz Chisholm by putting him over at third base. He hurt his arm, and I mean, there's no accountability there. And as for DJ LeMahieu, I mean, it never made any sense to cater to someone who's 36, who they were going to DFA last year. What sense does it make to cater to him? And that's what there's just the Yankees can't keep up with themselves, and they treat the fans like we are just with sniveling contempt. They really do. They treat the fans with complete contempt. They think that we're all stupid, even though for the last 6 weeks we've been saying, move Jazz back to his natural position. You know, the position, by the way, that Jazz Chisholm begged Aaron Boone to put him back to 2 weeks ago. Jazz Chisholm was like, I'm a second baseman. I mean, how much clearer could he possibly have made it without, like, writing it on a fucking on a piece of A4 and sticking it to his office door? I mean, God's sake, he made it perfectly clear. I'm a second baseman. You didn't have me take any reps at third base during the off season and during spring training. None of my preparations for this season included third base, and now you just planted me at third base and got me hurt. I mean, at what point do the Yankees ever take any responsibility for their own stupidity? So I'm glad they made the right move. Congratulations. But it never should have happened in the first place. So, no, I'm not giving Aaron Boone any credit. Rob's spot on. And I'm sick of the arrogance that they hold. They think that they're better than everybody else. They think they're smarter than everybody else. And it's very hard to get on board when, you know, it's really hard to be like totally locked in when you know that deep down they treat us with complete contempt. So, like, am I supposed to be excited that they made something, that they made a move that should never have happened in the first place? We know Peraza should have gotten some run. Yeah, I know he doesn't hit, but his glove makes up for it. His glove is incredible. You see this guy, the plays that he made over at third base yesterday? He's got an incredible glove, right? But the Yankees tried to find excuses to not use him whatsoever. The whole DJ LeMahieu stuff. DJ surprised me this year because he was better than he was last year, but he's still below average defensively now because he has no range. And offensively, he can't make up for it because his OPS doesn't even touch 700. So, I mean, this was obvious. It was clear as day this guy was not helping us. If you look at the results started to spiral downwards when they made the move. I mean, it doesn't take Nostradamus and Sherlock Holmes to figure out, you know what, maybe if I didn't move Jazz Chisholm over to third base, maybe if I kept my all-star Gold Glove caliber second baseman over at second base, then maybe this team wouldn't have lost 22 of 26 games. I mean,
Yeah, they might have had like maybe 5 or 6 extra wins out of that.
probably
Later.
run
Yeah.
prevention, man. Every time that ball hit when it was hit over to Jazz Chisholm, it was an adventure. And it turns out that he was also trying to throw to first with a bad shoulder. And the Yankees, again, that just popped up. You know what I mean? It just randomly popped up just a couple of days ago. Oh, right. So the Yankees are completely and totally incompetent. Right.
See, and that's where the whole the reactions between Jazz and DJ were flip flopped in this whole in the last 24 hours, because it should have been a situation where DJ should have been the mature veteran to be like, whatever the team needs. But that's what Jazz said to us.
Yeah, right.
You know, when he was told all spring training, all off season, get ready to play second base, and they put him at third, not a peep. He did whatever he did whatever the team was asking him to do with no issue. You know, and only until recently, and I think it was because he hurt his shoulder, he's going, well, I shouldn't have been over there in the first place. You know, and he still voiced his opinion loudly without embarrassing himself or the organization. He was just honest. And really, we always say we just want honesty from the manager and the GM in press conferences. Well, we want that from the players too. And Jazz was honest about it. And I think that's also part of what woke up the team. Look,
it still took 2 weeks. He said it weeks ago.
Yeah.
And still, Aaron Boone was like, no, we don't want to mess things up too much. We'll just keep him at third base. So I don't know why they waited to this random off day for them to make a move that they should have made weeks ago. I don't buy it.
No. But what happened during the off day that made them make these decisions? 'Cause,
Right.
like, you're telling me that in one day they're like, hold on, light bulb. Maybe what we're doing isn't working. Like, it doesn't make sense. So it's annoying because anyone with the brain could have told you this stuff years ago. We've been preaching this for years. Every other channel's been preaching this for years. It's nothing against DJ. It's just we want the best players on the field. And yeah, we know Peraza's not going to hit very well, but guess what? A lot of our infield wasn't hitting or isn't hitting well to begin with. So if the defense is sound, you're going to prevent runs, and that's what you need, especially when the bullpen's a little bit shaky. And just the thing with Jazz getting hurt because of a Boone decision, it kind of, another thing popped up in terms of injury mismanagement. Mark Leiter popped his leg during the Reds game 2 weeks ago, and now we're finding out that he has this fracture. Like, it means he was pitching on a bad leg, and it's like, now we know about this stuff. Like, it's things like this that infuriate us because
stuff turned out that he was having having soreness after each start, and after the 48 hours, he was still suffering from soreness, and the Yankees were like, you'll be fine, go back out there.
Exactly. This has been a case for years with the Yankees mismanaging injuries. I mean, how can we not bring up Clint Frazier and Anthony Rizzo with the head injuries, especially with Rizzo? He went from an MVP caliber player to just one of the worst players you've ever seen. And they're like, no, he's fine. He's fine. There's nothing wrong with his head. But it's like, we have eyes. It doesn't take a doctor to tell you the guy's clearly not the same that he was after that hit. You take a hit to the head, you're going to get your bell rung, and all of a sudden things are fuzzy, and it affected him, and the Yankees didn't see it. Mark Leiter's pitching every day with a pop in his leg, like a fracture in his knee, or wherever the hell, the fibula. Like, it was the weirdest term I've ever heard for an injury, but you tell me he heard a pop in his knee, and they're like, no, you'll be fine.
You'll be fine. His ERA just ballooned. Completely ballooned. And they're like, funny that. Weird.
This is why it's difficult to to get happy when the team wins. Because what did I say the other day? They're gonna start winning games, and they're gonna be like, see the process. And conveniently, They put up 10 when they finally make the changes they should have made, and they're like, you like Jazz? Oh, how about this offense and all this stuff? But it's just like, this could have been the case 6 weeks ago. This could have been the case 3 weeks ago, and maybe we don't blow an 8-game lead in the division. Maybe we're still up by 2 or 3 games or something like that, because Toronto's been on fire, so you really can't put that out. And Tampa Bay as well. Maybe it's not as bad, but you had 2 6-game losing streaks. You lost, 16 of 22 games, and they're just like, no, the process. Well, your process was clearly flawed because you had to backtrack on it and put Jazz back to where he was. And now, guess what you're doing again? You're still searching for a third baseman that you were searching for last year, this offseason, and you're still searching for him at the deadline. So maybe the process isn't as good as you think it is, and maybe we're not as dumb as the Yankees think we are.
How long have they been looking for a third baseman?
Multiple years.
When was the last time we actually had a solid third baseman? Was it A-Rod?
Essentially, since A-Rod, they've not been able to find a secure third baseman. And they forcibly forced him to retire, and they've had no idea who plays third base since then. How have they not been able to find a third baseman? How is it until they've taken now until they found the Goldschmidt? But Goldschmidt's 38. They've still not found a first baseman since Tejera. And again, the Yankees treat us like we're complete idiots. How could you not be happy with this process? What is this process? You don't have a third baseman? That's a process? You're playing your second baseman at third just to cater to a 36-year-old who's a bench player and doesn't have a position now because he's cooked? That's your process? That's a good process, guys. What about this process that they had where they decided Gleyber Torres was a shortstop?
Yep.
How this is just a flashback to what they did.
Say this is nothing new to watch.
They think that we have memories of a goldfish that we can't remember, that they did this before. They've done this twice before, at least, if not more so. But the two most obvious ones were Gleyber Torres, who is raking at second base, playing very, very well at second, and they just went, now you're a shortstop. And Gleyber's like, I'm not a shortstop. Well, you're a shortstop. And then it completely blows up in their face. The entire season's a joke because he was making errors left, right, and center. Then he stopped hitting, and everything was going wrong. And then, guess what? They just kept coming out. Aaron Boone, once a week, with more metrics to tell us that Gleyber Torres is the best shortstop in the world. He's the greatest. You guys don't know what you're looking at. He's the best. And then
The very next year with IKF.
But then, about a week before the playoffs, they went, actually, no, he's a second baseman. And then they put him back to second base. And so, like, oh, right. So maybe if you just listen to the fans in the first place, even though your analytics are so smart, then maybe this wouldn't have happened in the first place. But they did that before. Then they did it the next year with IKF, as Rob mentions. IKF, that's the second example. IKF, he's a Gold Glove third baseman, fired him over to shortstop, struggled at shortstop, had one of the worst years you could imagine at shortstop, and then they continued it once a week. Aaron Boone coming out, more gaslighting. IKF is the best shortstop in the American League. IKF is one of the best shortstops you will ever see, and this is just him quoting him. He's incredible. He does these incredible things. He's fantastic. You guys don't know what you're looking at. He's the best. And then, what, a week before the playoffs? Actually, no, he's actually not a shortstop. Yeah, we're just going to bench him. In fact, it got to the point then the next season they were like, you know what, I'm going to put him back at shortstop. And then IKF went, no guys. Like, you can put me in center field. You can put me in left field. But you ain't putting me at shortstop. I can't do it. So the Yankees are morons. They are run by sniveling morons. And I'm not going to give them credit for it because all this stuff is ridiculous. What, playing guys out of position? Oh, great. Remember they were going to try and get Chapman, but they weren't going to play him at third base. They're going to play him at shortstop. This is what the Yankees do. They acquire guys or want to acquire guys and not play them in their natural positions because they are smarter than everybody else when they're actually not.
No, I was thinking about it while you guys were talking. I think the last time we had a solid third baseman was probably Urshela. He was very athletic at third base, but we had to get Josh Donaldson because that whole debacle. But,
that's another gaslighting example. How long did they try to sell us on him?
Yeah, it's just one thing after another with these players, and they think, and then you get these talking heads for the Yankees that are like, well, you can't criticize the manager and the GM because you're in the playoffs every year. So what? So is 16 other teams in the league.
Oh,
But these are the pinstripes. We expect we don't just demand we don't demand greatness. We expect it. This is the team. This is what we grew up with. You can't just change that. It's like owning your name. This is what we are. This is who we are. We're Yankee fans. We expect the best to be played. If you can't cut it, you go. And it seems like they just want to be like, well, you're just lucky enough to that you have a winning record every year. What if you rooted for the Pirates or Arizona?
right.
Who cares about Pirates? We're not Pirate fans. We're Yankee fans.
Some people like Pirates.
We just want we hold our team and everybody involved in it accountable. The Yankees don't hold themselves accountable for anything, but we will not. That is the one thing we will not let go, is we will hold everybody accountable.
And it's not that they have to win the World Series every year, but you want them to at least make it seem like they care, like they're attempting to win it every year, because I get it. Maybe we are a little bit spoiled. It's like, how can you be so mad when your team has a winning record and you're in the playoffs and you're in the hunt? That's great. Don't get me wrong. It's great to know that we're probably going to be there every October. But when you play the way they do every October and you get embarrassed out of the playoffs every October, why should we be okay with that? I mean, we got embarrassed on a national scale in the World Series last year. And Michael Kay thinks and Jeff Passan think that we should be okay with that. Like, no, like, we got embarrassed. We got embarrassed in the 2022 ALCS by the Astros, who kick our ass every time. They swept us. We're supposed to be okay with that because we got there? Remember what Boston did to us in 2021? Remember what the Rays did to us in 2020? Remember what the Astros did to us in 2019? What the Red Sox did to us in 2018? The only time you can say you can kind of hang your head up high is after 2017, because they played their asses off. They really did. That's the only time you can really be like, you know what, I'm proud of them. But every other year you can't be like, oh, they played their best baseball. They really did, because they didn't. They got smacked by the Astros twice. And they got smacked by the Dodgers. They got smacked by Boston. And we're supposed to be like, it's okay that we were there, though. So no, Jeff Passan, I'm not gonna be okay with losing. We won last night, but it's just like, Jesus Christ, how could they not figure this stuff out beforehand? And you would have avoided the mess that was June. You could have avoided another June swoon if you just kept what was working in the first 2 months and gone with what I said in the offseason. The biggest change the Yankees could make was not on the roster, it was internally. If they just changed their internal philosophy, they would have been in a much better spot. And it seemed like they did that because they said, we can't replace Juan Soto's bat. Let's go a different route. Let's go run prevention. So you got everybody in position. You added 2 Gold Glove caliber players in Bellinger and Goldschmidt. You added great pitching, and it was working. And then they flicked the light switch back to 2024 and said, fuck it, Jazz back to third base. It's a joke. And that's why it's so difficult to get excited for this team, because I love this team and I pour everything I can into this team, but it's like they do shit that pisses me off on a regular basis. And it's just like, how can you not see it? But the fans who you think that are so dumb, we see it left, right, and center. We see it coming from a mile away, and the Yankees are like, nah, not our process. It's perfect. It's flawless.
No, because what's going to happen? We saw a lineup last night that was actually productive.
Yeah.
Put up, would look like an offensive juggernaut, going from player to player. And then it's almost like you can bet your house that there'll be a different lineup tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no need to rinse and repeat because we were successful. And that's the other part of the problem. And that Rob was saying, we should be coming on here today excited that the Yankees actually won a game 10-3 against the Mariners with their pitching staff. And we still had to put the production on the back burner because there are still so many issues that still need to be addressed. It's not fair to us as fans that we have to continue the same talking points over and over and over again. And I'm sorry, Michael. Okay, it's not just this year that we're getting aggravated.
Well,
We had the
I'm-
same conversation last year, and the year before that. Rob just went through the whole timeline, all the way back to 2017. Was the last time we actually was able to not finish the season with a World Series, but still hold our heads up. 2017.
It's almost a
You
decade.
got ousted in the World Series last year, and afterwards the Dodgers are going, yeah, here's the whole. They told the whole league the entire script of how to beat us, and they made no adjustments in the offseason. You know, that did not set off a flag going, you know, we may need to change our philosophy and our process because now everybody has our cheat sheet. They know how to beat us. Just put the ball in play because nobody's in the right position.
No other franchise treats their fans with the utter contempt that the Yankees do.
No.
They really do. They hate us for the fact that we hold them to accountability and standards that they can't reach. They know they can't reach. Thus, they hate us for it because we're reminding them of past greatness, and they don't want to be reminded of that because it doesn't suit their current moving the goalposts every week in order to fit themselves in. But no other fan base does this. No other team does this to their fans. I mean, you look at it. I mean, as incompetent as John Mara is, he listens to the fans and he genuinely wants to make them happy, right? Even though he makes the wrong moves, he genuinely wants to make them happy, right? And you know, you look at the Yankees, and then they're like, you know, F the fans. The voice of the Yankees, Michael Kay, called the Yankee fans brats yesterday. We're all brats. That's what he called us. We're brats.
That guy.
And that's why nobody listens to him.
And that's the freaking voice of the Yankees. And by the way, that's the mouthpiece of the Yankees on the Yes Network, on the Yankees freaking Al Jazeera network. It's honestly, it's like, come on. Why do you hate your own paying customers that much? You know what
That's
I'm
why
saying?
Dave Sims is such a
Utter contempt. And shout out to Don LaGreca because he was right because he was saying because I listened to his little segment and at one point he was like, you know, Yankee fans have to feel insulted. Now, Aaron Boone is saying that they're the best team in the world, they're the best team in baseball, and all this stuff when there's nothing that backs that up, and it's an insult to Yankee fans that they just have to put up with it. Yep. And it is insulting. And it's insulting to be lied to, and it's insulting to be gaslit. So listen, the reason why I'm so angry is because I hold the Yankees far higher than any other organization, right? I'm just trying to remind them of the standards that they have set themselves. Not that we've set them, but the standards that they set themselves. Because guess what? Every single year they keep saying this is a championship caliber team. We want to build a championship caliber team. Blah, de, blah, de, blah. So then when they lose 22-26 and make ridiculous decisions, and the fans are like, well, this isn't working. Yet we get criticized for it. So that's why I get so mad about it. I mean, some will say, oh, you're a terrible fan because you don't like it when they win or blah, de, blah, de, blah. I mean, I'm passionate. We're all passionate. I mean, we talk about this team 3 times a week at minimum. I do it another time on my own show. I adore the Yankees. They are the greatest organization in sports. I'm just trying to remind them that they're the greatest organization in sports, and I won't accept anything short of that because the expectations are different. You know, maybe if you weren't playing in New York City, maybe if you didn't have Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and Derek Jeter and the Mount Rushmore of their past greatness, then maybe I'll ease up on them. Maybe if they didn't have a $300 million payroll every single year and they've had it every single year since they last won a World Series 25 years ago, they have more than enough money to put together a championship caliber team. And yet they still manage to find ways in which they cannot do it. And then they blame us for it because of our expectations. So it's maddening, really, and I really the stuff that Michael Kay said was disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. And he should be ashamed of himself, calling us spoiled. Oh, and by the way, the Yankees weren't embarrassed in the World Series. And then he just kind of listed a bunch of what ifs. Well, what if he didn't use Nestor Cortez? What if they didn't have that fifth inning? What if, right? And then you're just spoiled brats.
Well, what if Boone actually made the right pitching move in Game 1?
Yeah, disgraceful.
Yes, I gotta head out though, guys. I got some stuff I gotta take care of that just popped up. So I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. Keep watching for Donald and Tats, and hopefully the Yankees don't piss us off tonight. Have a good one, guys.
All right, Rod, take it easy, bud.
Tats, how about Kyle Rowley? We're going to close up of his ass 4 times.
Luckily for me, I'm at work, so I have the pleasure of the radio, so I don't have to be, subjected to some of the visuals. But with Michael Kay, to wrap it up, what a breath of fresh air with the radio. I miss hearing John, I really do, but Dave is doing a phenomenal job replacing him, because you even saw like the Bellinger play, right? You would have thought he was a fan in the stands that got caught on the, that just got picked up on the hot mic. During the losing streak, you have Susan using, and she admits, she goes, I've never used this word during a losing streak before. She called it excruciating. Like, that is the reality and the honesty you want to hear from your broadcasters. Because they're relaying the game to us the way we want it relayed to. Yesterday, they were having fun on the radio. They were, the classic pitches duel that started out and I mean, I think the rain delay gave the Yankees a little extra time to maybe review some film on Gilbert, because after the rain delay ended, it was like the bats just woke up. So and what about Big G, bro? I mean,
I thought we were talking about Michael Kay. Where are we going here?
I'm going a mile a minute here.
So Michael Kay, I just felt that the stuff that he said was flat out wrong. I mean, it's gaslighting 101 to say the Yankees weren't embarrassed in the World Series. Well, I mean, they only lost by 1 run, and every other game was close. And if the 5th inning didn't happen, or I love that you use this word choice. The organization didn't use Nestor Cortez to pitch to Freddie Freeman. The organization, Aaron Boone's the manager. Even though you're trying to give him the break, he fronts it. Even though I'm not even sure if he necessarily makes the decision, he has to front it because he is the manager. So he is the one that has to take the fall for it, whether you like it or not. He was the one that made that decision. I know it doesn't fit your agenda, Kay, but that's the truth. And what if the 5th inning didn't happen? Well, the 5th inning happened, and the reason why it happened is because it's a symptom of the things that have been going on since 2018 when Aaron Boone first became manager. It is a symptom of it, because he doesn't pay attention to he doesn't sweat the small stuff. So he doesn't really necessarily care about fundamentals. He doesn't really care about backing up first base. He doesn't really care about those little things about like the trail runner, for instance, throwing to the wrong base, but then you're advancing the trail runner and that. These are all the things that fans know, but we're all idiots, of course, even though we're actually the ones that are pointing things out to him. But he doesn't really care about that stuff. And then guess what? The Dodgers were like, well, I mean, listen, it's not going to be that difficult to beat them. All we have to do is just play little league ball. Just put the ball in play, and the Yankees are going to fuck it up. And that's exactly what they did. So is that not the definition of an embarrassment? And that after the World Series ended and we lost in 5 games, and the Dodgers started laughing at us, going, "Oh, there's a Yankee defense again." So I'm telling you that. I mean, that's pretty embarrassing, right? That's not embarrassing. But no, we are just spoiled brats, Kay, because that's what will make you sleep at night, because we're just spoiled brats, and we don't have any voice, because we're not allowed to have a voice, because the Yankees are this all powerful orb, and you can't criticize them. And if you do, you're just a brat and you don't deserve to be a Yankee fan, because that's the kind of stuff that we get. That's the way that we're treated, even though we pay unbelievable amounts of money in subscriptions, on apps, and that's just for the fans that don't go to the games.
Yep.
And then the fans that go to the games, they have to pay through the nose to get through the gates, pay crazy amounts of concession money, and it's all going in a house pocket. And then what's your thanks for that? Your thanks are you might not see a team that could be bothered to play that day, and if they do, um, which is good, and they might win, great. But then they're just going to treat your fans like idiots because they have no respect for you. So that's great. So it really makes me feel like really like desperate to put my money into that Yankee product because yeah, they really appreciate their fans, right? I mean, we're just spoiled brats. According to the voice of the New York Yankees, we are spoiled brats. Lovely. Thanks, Kay. Appreciate it, man.
Well, we definitely appreciate our fans and everybody that's in the chat, all the subscribers. So to everybody in the chat, thank you for hanging out with us day in, day out as we do these shows. If you want to join the chat, it's very easy. It's very free. Just hit that sub button. And also, if you want to join the content, hit the like button. If you are watching on Facebook and X, appreciate you tuning in. Also on Sports Wire Radio. Thank you for listening. But look, it's speaking of well, before we get with it's to stay with the fans. Just a little behind the scenes planning that Donald and I are in the middle of. Donald's going to be coming to the States soon. And we are planning on trying to get, we're going to get together for a game. Once we know which game it is that we'll be at, we'll let you know. If you are going to be at that game, definitely hit us up on social media so we can meet up and hang out and talk a little baseball face to face. We always like meeting everybody when we get the opportunity to. So we will definitely keep you updated on that.
It's a great idea. Make it a Pinstripe Chronicles meetup.
Yep. Well, we get a chance to walk around like we're at some type of celebrity or something.
Absolutely, we are. Let's go.
But listen, there is one thing I want to get to. I don't want to wait until the last minute and have to rush. But let's also talk about with Seattle in town, the MVP race, and it's really turning into a race now. And not to take anything away from Judge, right? I still think he's the front runner because he's more than just his home run numbers. But I think it's that point of the season because we're nearing the All-Star break. I think it's time for us to put a little more respect on Cal Rowley's numbers this year.
100%.
I think it's going to be, it's not going to be a unanimous vote. I've already convinced myself of that. Unless like one play, Judge just goes on a complete offensive, home run tear, which he really hasn't had yet. But they are pitching him a little differently. But I think Cal Rowley, I think he has to be respected in the AL MVP race.
I think you're spot on, man. Listen, we're all on Aaron Boone. There's a Freudian slip. We're all on Aaron Judge's side. But I'll tell you what, Cal Rowley is making a case, and a very strong case. If you just look at it, you have to bear in mind also that he's a catcher. Do you know how difficult it is to be a catcher and then walk up to the plate and be that dominant, considering the wear and tear that being a catcher does to you? And he's coming up there with an 1,000 OPS, with a 646 slug, 383 on base percentage, 76 RBIs, 36 home runs, which, by the way, leads the majors. He's got 88 hits already this season. I mean, this dude is having an incredible year. And when you think about the fact that he is probably the Mariners' only hitter, Let's be honest. And he's playing in a position that causes a lot of wear and tear. And he's still doing this. You can make a serious case that,
And he's a switch hitter.
you can make a serious case that he's the current MVP leader. You could
I
make a
think,
case.
yeah, he's already broken 2 records.
Wow.
Right, he's got the most home runs as a catcher, before the All-Star break, and also the most home runs as a switch hitter before the All-Star break.
That's remarkable.
And like I said, I think Judge is still clearly, the MVP right now. But I just think when you look at, a lot of, older fans are going to respect the record that he's on, and the pace that he's on. I think he's going to end up with votes just out of respect for what he's done. And I think his accomplishments this half of the season have to be respected. And it's not to take away from Judge, obviously, but
I have to
you
agree
can't
with
you can't be arrogant to say, well, we have Aaron Judge, there's nobody close.
Right.
Cal Rowley's putting up numbers. He's got more home runs than Judge.
He does.
If only by a couple. It's still,
And he doesn't have the
he's
power
still
that
leading.
Judge has. Judge is the best player on the planet. He's the best player of a generation. He is, although I believe that at the moment, because he's a catcher and because he's a switch hitter, I think that, and the fact that he also leads the league in home runs and RBIs, puts him slightly above Aaron Judge. But that's not a disservice to Aaron Judge, because Aaron Judge is the best player on the planet. Fucking best player of fucking generation. He's the only reason to watch this current Yankee ass team. He is the only reason to watch it. But if you're being really, really fair, I like Cal for what he's doing as a catcher for the Mariners. I mean, the Mariners don't have an offense, at all, and he is kind of carrying them single-handedly. So, and he's also catching a really good pitching staff, because the Mariners do have a good pitching staff, and he's catching them, and he's doing a good job there too. So I think he's having a phenomenal year, but I do think that in the second half of the year, he might slow down a little bit. Yeah, and Aaron Judge will just steamroll. I think Aaron Judge, when it's all said and done, will win the MVP, but if there was a mid-season MVP, I think it would be Cal.
That's what I'm saying. At this point of the season, finishing off the first half, going into the All-Star break, my only argument, and some people agree with me, Donald, I just think Cal Rowley deserves just a little more respect and recognition for what he's been able to do this half.
Nick's got a good point. What Cal is doing as a catcher is more valuable than what Judge does as an outfielder. I mean, if we're taking the Yankee tinted glasses off, and you're being honest, yeah, it's close, because obviously you think about Aaron Judge's stupendous batting average, which is almost 400. And another key aspect to this, though, is another thing. Aaron Judge is getting intentionally walked all the time, right? The Blue Jays refused to pitch to him. They didn't pitch to him. The Mets maybe pitched to him once, right? And the only time
Washington was laughing walking
home run. The only time which makes it even more incredible what Aaron Judge is doing, because he only gets maybe one pitch a game to do something with, and he hits a home run or drives in a deep, hard double. That's how amazing Aaron Judge is, because you have to be locked in all the time, because by and large they're not going to pitch to him, because they know that the rest of the team can't, or aren't even in Aaron Judge's freaking can't even lace his boots. So that's what they're doing. With the Mariners, I mean, he's not getting that kind of treatment that Aaron Judge is getting. So then you think about maybe Aaron Judge is the MVP then. There's different conversations you can have. But I do think that just with him being a catcher, I think what he's doing is stupendous. And talk about the S Network again, the fact that you focused on his ass and focused on his nickname rather than his achievements is an embarrassment, and I expect better for the S Network.
Yep. I mean, they can't all be us, Donald. They can't.
No, No, no.
They can't call it down the middle. They can't be honest. They can't take the Yankee glasses off.
No.
We can.
Tell Big Dumper. Oh, shut up.
No, yeah, it. Also with the All-Star break coming, we one thing that we teased a little bit on the last show was some of the stuff with the trade deadline. The three of us were talking backstage before the show. We are going to give it a full show during the All-Star break. There will be a show dedicated to just trade proposals, rumors, and things of that nature. So we are not forgetting about what we said on Monday's show. We will get to a trade show, and that'll be during the All-Star break when there's no baseball really being played. Because Donald, let's be honest, nobody cares about the All-Star game anymore.
No.
I think in sports in general, I think the only one that still has any type of excitement is hockey.
I mean,
Because of the skills competition.
the NBA
we have the home run derby that
best.
nobody wants to play in anymore. Nobody wants to do the home run derby.
You're right.
Even
The NBA
Alonso's
used to
backing
be the
out
best
this
one,
year.
but that's just collapsed. And it's for the same reason. So nobody wants to do the slam dunk contest. No one wants to do the 3-point contest for the same reasons that no one wants to do the home run derby. And it really just it really hurts the product. Because but luckily we were old enough to remember when the All-Star game was great. The baseball All-Star game was great, and it was a big thing. It meant something. It was a can't miss because it was an opportunity to see players from the other league that you don't really see that much.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen anymore because interleague is just like a regular thing now. Everybody basically plays each other now. But previously, maybe like 10, 15 years ago, if not more than that, it was exciting to see players from the other league, because you didn't see them every day, and you're like, wow, this guy is fantastic, and it's exciting. And you remember when? Can you remember when the American League had, Derek Jeter, Nomar Garciaparra,
Yeah.
You name it, and like Mark McGuire, Barry Bonds. It was just the best of the best, all in the All-Star game. Sammy Sosa. It was just like iconic players. Clemens. It was just great. A-Rod, and it was just awesome. Now it's not nearly the same.
No, and it's not even just the on-field stuff. With the schedule, every team plays every team. It's also with social media and just the way that most baseball fans will find a way to watch or listen to other teams. I do it myself. On an off day, I'll flip around through different games on the MLB app, and I'll just listen to different games on the radio, for an inning or two, just to check in on the temperature of other teams. As a kid, you didn't have that. The All-Star game was your chance to see players from other teams that that the Yankees wouldn't be playing on Channel 11. And you were able to be like, oh, I actually get a chance to see, Ozzie Smith on the, with his defense, and just, players, Ken Griffey, trying to think of some more of the more like a Barry Bonds. You got to see his at bats. McGuire, Canseco. You got to see them in a game you wouldn't normally see.
Right.
You didn't get a chance to just go on your MLB app and tune into those games any chance you can. You had to really wait for the playoffs to see a lot of those teams. If they didn't make the playoffs at the time, you didn't know the roster.
Facts.
So social media, the distribution of games through apps, and the forever interleague play throughout the season, really I think just destroyed the prestige of the All-Star game.
Yeah, the All-Star game is now done, but I don't think there's any way you can bring it back. And I'm not even necessarily saying that they should stop what they're doing. I quite like playing National League teams. I think it's kind of fun. It makes it a little bit more interesting than playing the Red Sox 36 times. Do you know what I'm saying? I quite like playing National League teams. I just think that that's just the way things are. And in most sports, the All-Star thing is no longer a big deal anymore. You know what I'm saying? Is the money isn't in not having the opportunity to see these great players. You know, because TV now allows you to see all these players on a regular basis. So I don't know. I just think it is. It was just we were just of a generation where we got to really enjoy it for what it was, and it was amazing. I don't think it's going to happen again.
I was trying to peek in when I was at work the other day on the MLB channel on the Roku TV. They have early in the morning the MLB Classics, and it was showing the '78 All-Star game. You know, and I caught it right at the. I wish I would have gone. I actually wish I had to go to work earlier because I would have been able to watch the whole show of it. You know, and I'm like, oh, you know, that was, and you like fans running onto the field celebrating with the teams. You know, now forget it. You drop your hat on the field, they're taking you out of the stadium. But I think if they actually, like what Japan does, where they actually have a skill competition,
right?
You know, maybe like what hockey does. You know, basketball tries to do it with the 3-point shot and the slam dunk contest. You know, but nobody really takes it seriously. But you know, it's
because the best of the best don't
Japan
actually
has a
take
bunting
part.
competition. The Yankees will not be participating in that.
No, but the thing is, the reason why these skill competitions are not like looked upon anymore is because the best of the best aren't taking part.
Yeah,
You know, so they need to find a way to get the best home run hitters in the game want to take part, and then that will be watchable. But I tried to watch last year's, and I turned it off because I was so bored because the
it
whole
was boring.
it's like a maths competition. It was like, oh, this one the exit velo is this, and this is going to project at this, and I'm like, oh, like I don't need the maths. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't need all the maths. Just who hits the most home runs, right? Cool. You know
That's what it's about.
what it's about. So, oh, but this one's is going at 119 exit velo and is going at projected 425 feet, but it's not at 400. Well, shut up. You know, it doesn't need to be so complicated.
Yeah, it's hit the ball over the whoever hits the most balls over the wall wins. That's the whole point of it. Yeah, you don't need all the action. We're trying to escape all the bullshit of the game and just enjoy, watching some of the top hitters swing, swing the bat. That's all we're doing. And they're kind of ruining that.
They are. But I mean, there's probably a health aspect to it as well, and a lot of the players don't want to compete because it'll get them out of the rhythm by purely aiming to hit home runs. It could get you out of your swing. So I get it, but anyway, we're it's a good conversation to have during the All-Star break.
Yeah. But I do want there's one final topic we got to get to, and it's the fact that the Yankees hate me. Because bad enough I have enough trouble with Jazz's name. We actually are getting Cam Schlittler in his debut tonight. And they are just trying to get me to just trip over my tongue as much as I can. But no, I am really excited to see Cam on the mound tonight. What a great opportunity for him. And, with all the injuries coming to the Yankees, it's nice to see that they actually have somebody ready, and we'll see how it goes. I'm expecting if we can get 5 innings, your traditional, stat line. 5 innings, 5 Ks, 3 runs. I think that'd be a nice debut.
He's one of our top prospects. I can't wait to see him.
Yep.
Yeah, see how he does. Don't want to put too much pressure on him, but it's exciting. But the bigger problem is the Yankee pitching. Our
It's the
bullpen
bullpen.
is now a complete mess, and our end of our rotation is a bit of a wreck right now. So there are a lot of pitching problems. Let's be honest, and yeah, then in the next episode that we're going to discuss where we are, what moves need to be made, and all that stuff. There's a lot of moves that have to be made. You have to get a lot of bullpen arms, at least one starter, definitely a third baseman. That's a lot of work to do at the deadline. I'm just not sure if they can, or even if they should. Where considering where we're at.
Is the fact that they're making these adjustments now, as far as you know, making the decision to put Jazz back at second. Um, do you think that's because they already have an idea of what they want to do for third base?
Yes.
And, all right,
I
who do
do.
you think? I mean, there's going to be a few names, and we're going to get it. Like I said earlier, I want to do a whole show on it because
Eugenio Suarez.
Bingo. That's
I
what
think
I
it's
want.
Eugenio Suarez. I think that they're in advanced negotiations with Eugenio Suarez.
I'd also
That's
try to get. I'd also try to get Gallon. I'd try to get
my
the
thought
Bolton.
process. I don't know what the Yankees are cooking up, but I think Suarez is at the top of their list, and it's the only name that I would be excited about, frankly, because there's a lot of underwhelming names being thrown around at third base. I would say he's one that would be exciting because he's got 900 OPS and he's got like 26 home runs this year. So already, so the dude's a monster. If you add him to the lineup, then now the lineup looks good. So that's what they should be going all in for. And to be honest, I would try and do it ASAP before other teams start jumping in, but before the trade deadline. I want to try and just get in there, offer what it's going to take, and get him.
Wow. Nick thinks we're
Well,
going
hear it.
fucking home. Jose Ramirez? Nah, I don't know about that. I would take him in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, but I don't think we have the prospects to get him.
No, I don't think he'd approve it. He's loyal to Cleveland.
That's true.
I think Cleveland's his identity. It'd be interesting to see what
it would cost,
because Cleveland's
cost all the Yankees' top prospects to get Jose Ramirez.
Yeah.
It would cost Spencer Jones, Lombard, probably Schlittler, probably. I just think it would be too much. I think it would decimate our farm system. I'm not sure if they do that, but I would love it.
But like I say, every deadline, and every time there's trade talks, be prepared for some trades that are gonna hurt. You're gonna see a guy that you've been waiting on that might be in a trade. If it's for the right guy, we just gotta, we gotta suck it up. Because it's a matter of they got to. I mean, they got to do so much.
I could see.
I'm not saying I wouldn't. I don't.
When it happens, make sure you think I will.
Yeah,
absolutely. Are you kidding?
I was gonna say I just don't see Ramirez going. Yeah, I'll accept the trade because he has to approve it.
I think he would. I just don't think the Yankees will part with the prospects.
No, Cleveland's not going to make it easy. Like I said, that's why some trades actually hurt. I know Hector would love J Ram on. He's been begging for him for years. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, next week during the break, we're going to give the trade deadline our full attention. with some ideas and bounce around with you guys on who we think could be moved, will be moved, and targets like that. So with that, we do appreciate everybody that did hang out with us this morning. With that, make sure you hit that sub button, hit that like button, share this out with your friends, your family. The stream is on the corner. So this is the Pitch Strike Chronicles. I am Uncle Taz with Donald. We had Rob with us earlier. Want to thank everybody. We will be back on Friday morning, 10 a.m. as always. Just remember to wear those pinstripes with pride and play hard.